to help you continue to do your work. But we want to put one of our members on the board just to make sure that the money is spent wisely. And then they do it again, and now you have a second board member. And now you have a third board member. And before you know it, that movement, that foundation, instead of going up and creating more consciousness, more awareness, is now heading the other way. Okay? And now they also control the wealth of that foundation. Okay? We have been thinking in a pyramidal structure, in a third density structure. They're in fourth density, in holographic. We have to think the same way. And we have to be talking about how is it that we got ourselves into this. Now, this isn't a question of, well, it's essential that we put blame to the side for the moment. There's plenty of that, and there will be plenty of that. What we need is the knowledge. We need to know how these structures work so that we can create something different, something in total opposition to it. Because I can't imagine everybody's happy with the way things are. Okay? And this isn't just about the United States. This is about the global population. Because the extraterrestrial races don't see us as separate countries. They see us as one race. Okay? And we're all between a rock and a hard place, pretty much. Okay? At the moment. Taking personal responsibility is huge, but it really is the first and the biggest step to achieving full consciousness. Okay? I'm going to read you a quote that I found. It's from a gentleman named Little Hawk. He's a Native American Indian with the Mohawk tribe. Take credit for your mistakes, not what you do good, because you're supposed to be doing good anyway. Okay? We've all made mistakes. We've all screwed up. Okay? But that's part of the learning process. Okay? If you had all knowledge and you were all seeing, you wouldn't need to be here. Okay? So, collectively and individually, we need to start looking at the world and saying, what has my contribution been? Now, I'm not talking about going out and trying to save the world. It's not about that at all. Okay? It's really about each one of us individually. It's about being the light. It's about not feeling shame for our mistakes. It's about absolutely unlearning that you are not a sinner. That is such crap that I want to vomit every time I hear that. Okay, you are not a sinner. You are a spiritual being in a physical body. Or as George Green said, rent-a-wreck. I like that. That was really cute. Okay? Now, look at the structure that is overlaying us. Governments of control and dominance. A monetary system that controls everything. Corporations and banks that own the debt of every nation, which means literally they're in control because they have the debt. Okay? We have medical and pharmaceutical companies who have had cures for cancer and other diseases, okay, that now want to damage your DNA with untested vaccinations. Imagine how afraid they are of you. Can you just for a moment imagine how afraid of you they are? And now you've got to ask yourself the question, why are they afraid of you? Okay? Because we are awesome, awesome creator gods. We have the ability to create reality, to bring it forth, to call it forth. And they have done everything they can to continue to make sure that we believe we're powerless. This is why so many extraterrestrial races are coming here now. Okay? Because they know different. On some level, ladies and gentlemen, we consciously have called forth this drama. This is really about us. Okay? We have called this forth. Okay? This is really about us. It's not about them. And we need to step into our power here. We need to fully understand it's time for us to step into our power as a planetary race and not see the borders anymore. Now, I would not be that opposed to a global government if it was set up with a constitution like the U.S. Constitution and an absolute Bill of Rights. But even then, that's not a guarantee. Because if people don't defend those rights, if people don't defend their liberties, what good is it? We've just experienced that. Okay? We've just experienced that. And in 1913, when the Federal Reserve took over, that's when the train started going the other way. And here we are. $100 trillion in debt. An absolutely ridiculous number. Okay? It's probably higher. Who knows? Okay? Now, in creating our holographic model of a civilization or a social structure, do we want to have a monetary system? Do we actually need a monetary system? Because we're the only ones that I'm aware of in our galaxy that still use a monetary system. Okay? In fact, many, many years ago, I had been asked by Morin Aphasias to put together a short presentation on money. They already knew about it, but I did the best that I could. And when it was over, Aphasias just looked at me and he goes, "I don't understand." And I said, "Well, what do you not understand?" He says, "I don't understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on." Okay? And ladies and gentlemen, that has haunted me ever since. And that one little thing takes you completely out of the box. Okay? For the first time you begin to think, well, geez, what would it look like not to have a currency? You know? Advanced civilizations, all their needs are taken care of. All of their standard day-to-day life needs are met by the government. No strings attached. And then you donate your time and your expertise and your skills to do something you want that benefits the whole. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about communism either. It's something bigger than that. Okay, but we need some help in defining what that is. Now, we have a lot of really brilliant, intelligent people here and in the world. And I know other people around the world have been talking about similar things, creating a different society, and maybe even a holographic society, and what that looks like, a holographic power structure. So no matter what happens, it will totally always stand on its own. The Founding Fathers tried to do something like this when they created all the states as equal, in control, and separate from the government. That was pretty much their intent, whether they realized it or not. I also want you to know that we have a lot of help. We are getting a lot of help from the spiritual side as well as the dimensional side. And I'm not talking about just dimensional beings, I am talking about also extraterrestrials. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. The vision at Valley Forge of George Washington. I know that a lot of people on the net, if you've not researched it, I suggest that you do. Some say it's a hoax. It's not a hoax. I also want you to know that Thomas Jefferson, in his diaries, was out walking at his estate in Monticello, was trying to figure out the verbiage, the language, in regards to the Declaration of Independence, when he was met by a hooded man who he never really clearly saw, who gave him the conversation and the pieces that he needed to finish the Declaration of Independence. I also want you to know that in the Constitutional Hall, when everybody was bantering and going back and forth, and it looked like no one was going to sign the Declaration of Independence, up on the top railing of the hall, a man appeared out of nowhere, and for 20 minutes gave an oration about how important this was, not only to the United States and to the moment, but to the entire world as a whole. And as soon as he was done, everybody rushed to the table and signed the Declaration of Independence. Benjamin Franklin and the Sergeant at Arms went upstairs to try to talk to this man because they wanted to know who he was. There were armed guards at every single door. The armed guards swore no one went in, no one went out. So there is divine providence here, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a mistake that you live in this country. It is not